Hey everyone, welcome back and thanks for joining me for another episode of my Middlesbrough career on FIFA 15. And as of late, results and performances haven't been the best. We lost against Charlton, if you remember, in the last episode, it ended 2-1. We just about scraped a 1-0 win at the Riverside against Steve McLaren's derby. Well, our next game was away against Huddersfield and I wanted to try and take it up a notch from Middlesbrough with performance and result. Because it goes without saying, you know, I'm not happy with winning 1-0 here and there or going on to lose games, especially with it being early days as well. You need to start getting points on the board and picking up momentum. Obviously, you're not going to do that with poor performances. So I changed the formation, hoping that maybe that could help us out a little, to the 4-3-1-2. Also allowed me to have two strikers up front and allowed me to bring in Thomas, who had been sidelined for the start of the season. So it's good to get him in the side, seeing that I did spend that 1.1 million on him in the side. I think it was 1.1, I'll have to go back and check that. But, you know, I can't let him go to waste, so he is in the team for this game against Huddersfield. Don't worry as well, Bamford is a part of my plans, and he will be starting a game a bit later on in this episode. You can see how he gets on in Middlesbrough's next championship game back at the Riverside against Nottingham Forest. In that first half, things were looking pretty positive for Middlesbrough. We were attacking the ball, we were hitting Huddersfield nicely on the counter. We were looking very threatening going forwards, let's put it that way. But it was just our finishing that let us down. But that will change come the second half, as you can see. Thomas there, calling for the ball off Tomlin. Tomlin feeds it through, finding Jet perfectly, and he finds the net perfectly, putting Middlesbrough 1-0 in the lead until he turned round and found that the linesman's flag was up. It was offside. We were getting caught out so much with that offside rule. It's so damn frustrating, and when I was playing at the time as it happened, I was like, no, Jet was onside. I was watching Jet make the run, but of course I turned to the instant replay, as you do, just to see if I had a case against the linesman, whether he was being a bit biased towards Middlesbrough. But as you see, when the ball leaves Tomlin's foot, Jet is offside with his head and 3/4 of his body. So fair enough to the linesman, he did get the decision correct there. We just had to make sure that we didn't let that bother us too much and play on and go and find that first goal. It almost came from that shot from Tomlin on his left foot, looking to bend it round the goalkeeper, but it just went whizzing past the wrong side of the post. And coming up to the hour mark, Huddersfield could have easily have made it 1-0, but the linesmen, both of them in this game, were on fire. I know the offside rule can be frustrating at times, but their decisions in this game were perfect. If you guys remember, in my previous episode with Middlesbrough here on FIFA 15, we knocked out York in the second round of the Capital One Cup, and you also found out that we had been drawn against Premier League side QPR in the third round of the Capital One Cup. Middlesbrough had to travel all the way down from Huddersfield then, all the way down south to get to Loftus Road in just a matter of 2 days. And obviously that journey can be made within a day, but it was all about players' fitness and whether they would be prepared for this huge game, because a place in the fourth round was up for grabs here. I know I mentioned in the previous episode that maybe I would shuffle the pack a bit for that Huddersfield game, and I kind of did when it came to formation, but not so much with first team players, because I had to think, what's more important, a good position in the Championship or getting through to the next round of the Capital One Cup? Thankfully though, the majority of my first team players were fit and were ready for this game against QPR. But was I ready? That was the question. Was I able to get a good result against QPR? You're just going to have to stay tuned to find out who books a place in the fourth round. But it would be QPR that would open up the score, and the goal coming from Leroy Fer. And what a finish. It seems that he's always been a thorn in my side whenever I've come up against him on FIFA. I know when I've done my Man United career, he's always scored against us when he was at Norwich last season, and also for QPR this year as well. But what a goal. And Parmesan, he just couldn't prevent the ball from going into the back of the net. It's almost as if he had to let it go in because it was so good of a shot. I mean, look at that, how he curls that round. Nicely weighted as well from Leroy Fer. Doesn't get any better than that. So QPR were 1-0 up inside of 10 minutes. And I just thought to myself, yep, this is how the game's going to pan out, isn't it? They're going to keep grabbing goal after goal. And thankfully Charlie Austin wasn't on the pitch, because I think he would have made matters even worse for Middlesbrough when attacking for QPR, but you can see how forceful Rangers were being and how far they were pressing us back. It was pretty uncomfortable playing, as you can imagine, and I did get a strong sense that QPR really wanted to wrap this game up within the first half and put it to bed. Junior Hoylett almost made it 2-0. If it wasn't for Jonathan Woodgate, I don't think Parmesan would have got anything on that. But just look at that block from Jonathan Woodgate, sticking his leg out in the nick of time and deflecting it out for a corner as the game still stood at 1-0. Tarat did take it short, giving it to Anoa. Wasn't really sure what their thinking was there, really. But look at Nsue. He continued to pursue the ball. He pickpocketed Vargas. It was a brilliant counter move, so quickly done by Borough. And it was Kike that slotted the ball into the back of the net. The keeper came out to meet him. It was just too good of a shot, sending the Borough fans into raptures. The goal meant so much to them. We were back on level terms with QPR, and I decided that was the only way that we could possibly get a result against Rangers if we continued to hit them on the counter when they were slacking when going forwards. We certainly caught them napping after that set piece, and Tarat almost made it 2-1. They almost got their nose back in front just before half time, but again Jonathan Woodgate, a fantastic servant to Middlesbrough, with a fantastic block. If it wasn't for him, the game could have been at 3-1 going in at half time with the chances that QPR had that he had blocked. Come the second half then, I did try to adapt my game as best as possible as a counter-attacking outfit. You can see a perfect example of it here with this highlight when Leroy Fer volleyed the ball back into the box, but you can see how quick I was trying to move the ball out. But QPR, they read that, they knew what I was up to, and they weren't having any of it. And surprise, surprise, it would be QPR finding the back of the net for a second time, actually getting their nose in front with the goal coming from Leroy Fer. It was a lob over the top from Diakite, which found Fer, who hit that on the volley. But let's just stop the video right there. Let's rewind, shall we? Now, I'm not sure if any of you guys noticed, but I'm pretty sure that goal was offside. Let's take a look. So as Diakite is making his run, he goes to lob the ball over the defence, and as the ball leaves his feet, look at the positioning of Leroy Fer on the left side of your screen. In that game against Huddersfield at the start of this video where J. Emmanuel Thomas was offside, I was happy to accept that. It was a perfect decision by the linesman, but whereas in this game against QPR, dear oh dear, I think the linesman needs to go to Specsavers. It doesn't seem as though he's paying attention because, in my opinion, it was offside and the goal shouldn't have stood. Now, moving on with the replay, you can see that Leroy Fer kind of pulls himself back in onside. Maybe that got the better of the linesman. Maybe it completely fooled him. I'm not sure, but if that is the case, he needs to be sacked. I know it's just a game, but he totally screwed us in this game, that linesman. And so with that, Middlesbrough have been knocked out of the Capital One Cup. We will not be heading through to the fourth round as it's QPR that goes storming on after a 2-1 win against Borough. We gave it our all, we gave it our best shot, but it just wasn't good enough. Then it was on to our next game in the Championship. We were back at home at the Riverside to play against Nottingham Forest. This was the game that I was talking about earlier on, which would include Bamford up front on his own, flanked by Nsue and Adoma. Before the game kicked off, I felt sorry for Nottingham Forest because they were going to be on the brunt end of Middlesbrough, looking to bounce back after that loss midweek against Premier League side QPR. Our first opportunity came in the 8th minute, and boy oh boy, was for sure so close to making it 1-0. What a finish it would have been. You can see how close the ball was to going in. It was just a lick of paint away from hitting the target. He did so well too to lift the ball over the big centre half for Forest and bring it back down. It's just unfortunate it went wide. Forest had a great opportunity from Burke. He was offside, thankfully. But then again, he should be doing a lot better with that. The ball should be in the back of the net, even though it was offside. It was poor from him, and the linesman definitely got the decision right. Of course, I would say that. But we pushed on, seeking that first goal of the game. That was a nice little back heel from Adamar, releasing for Shaw, who found Nsue. He took the ball down the right side. I did decide to go this alone with Nsue and go for goal, and it was on target. How Darlow kept that at the back of his net, I don't know. It's a fantastic save, almost world class, almost putting Neuer to shame. Look at that, he palms it away. pure brilliance in between the sticks from Darlow there for Nottingham Forest, as he kept Middlesbrough at bay. In the second half, Ensue continued to put in a great shift for Borough. Went for that near post, looking to beat Darlow, but I should have known better really after that first save from him earlier in the first half. But we won a corner. Nevertheless, he probably could have left that. He was going to hit the side netting anyway, but he didn't want to take that risk. We looked to get the first goal of the game with the corner, and we did just that. Whitehead with pinpoint accuracy, finding the head of Adamar, who made it 1-0. The postage stamp type goal, top right hand corner. It doesn't get any better than that. Beating a keeper who I thought was not going to let anything in this game after some of the saves he made. But there was just no stopping that powerful header from Adamar. As I mentioned earlier in this video, I want to stop winning games 1-0. I want to be going out there and picking up where we left off in that first game of the Championship, where we beat Reading 3-1 and scoring goals. And I looked to try and get a second with Tomlin, but he just wasn't fast enough. He was bullied off the ball by Gardner. He pumped the ball forwards, and with their brilliant attack, it's so quickly done. If you blink, you'll miss it. Asombalonga, I think that's how you pronounce his name, got the equaliser, and that would be it for the game. So we haven't had the best of times in this episode, unfortunately, guys. I am going to end it there, though. Hope you've all enjoyed. Do stay tuned, as more is on its way very soon. Thanks for watching then, guys.